Hello, I'm Steve Weber, the host of Beatles Rewind. Good afternoon, everybody. Right now, we're in the time of late October 2025. As always, I'm joined by my co-host and fellow Beatlemaniac, my confidante, Cassandra. Cassandra, you ready to dig into Obla di Oblada?
Hi, Steve. I'm ready. Go.
Okay, so this single, Obla di Oblada, what exactly was that, Cass? Is that French or what?
Je ne sais pas, Steve. Je t'entends très mal.
Okay. Enough of the language jokes there. Let's get serious.
Right.
This is the deep dive, and you, our listener, you shared a really great bunch of sources about, well, the surprising backstory, really, and the pretty explosive recording history of a song that sounds, so simple. Oblada.
Exactly. It sounds sunny, but underneath. Well, that's what we're digging into.
Yeah.
Our mission here is really to uncover the complex feelings the Beatles had about this track, especially John Lennon.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to trace where it came from, culturally speaking, and look at how, well, pure animosity actually shaped the final version we all know. It's kind of weird.
It really is. So let's start right there with the phrase itself. Obladi, oblada. We joked about French, but it's way off, isn't it?
Miles off, yeah. The sources point somewhere totally different.
So what's the story? Where did Paul actually hear this?
Well, it shows how much they were soaking up, you know? The phrase itself, obladi, oblada, it actually has roots in the Yoruba language.
Yoruba, from Nigeria.
That's the one, yeah. And the meaning is, it's quite philosophical, actually. It basically translates to life goes on.
Life goes on. Huh. Fits the song, I guess.
Totally. And Paul apparently picked it up from a Nigerian conga player he knew, Jimmy Scott. Scott used to say it all the time on the London club scene.
Oh, really? So it was a real saying he just grabbed.
Pretty much. And the funny thing is, Scott actually tried to sue Paul later. He felt like he deserved credit or maybe royalties for the phrase.
Wow. So trouble from the very start, basically.
You could say that. Shows the complexity around this track right from day one.
And that sort of global connection, that ties into the music itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's not just standard pop. It's got that bounce.
That bounce is ska.
Yeah.
Pure ska. I mean, musically, structurally, it's a ska track.
Right. That Jamaican sound, heavy rhythm on the upbeat.
Exactly. That syncopation, hitting the beat you don't normally emphasize, that's ska.
But why were the Beatles, this British rock band, messing with Jamaican ska back in '68?
Well, you got to remember the context. Ska, or blue beat, as it was often called in the UK then, it was huge in Britain, especially with the mods in London.
Ah, okay. So it was just around in the air.
Totally. Bands like the Beatles, they were always listening, always absorbing stuff, pulling in new sounds. So this wasn't just some random cheerful little tune. It was them consciously trying to work with these global sounds that were happening like that. Maybe a bit clumsily, but they were trying.
Okay, but here's where this story takes a turn, right? Because despite all that cool background, this song became this major point of conflict within the band. John Lennon famously hated it.
Oh, absolutely hated it. And that's where we get that legendary quote, the one that sort of stuck to Paul for ages.
Yeah.
Lennon called it, and I quote, "more of Paul's granny music shit."
Ouch. And wasn't George Harrison also not a fan?
Yeah, the sources mention George wasn't keen either. Found it a bit, trivial, perhaps.
So granny music, let's unpack that. What did Lennon actually mean? Was it just too happy?
It was definitely a dig at the style. For Lennon, granny music meant anything too light, too melodic, maybe a bit too music hall. You know, those old-timey British songs.
Right, like when I'm 64. Oh, God. Maxwell's Silver Hammer.
Exactly. Paul loved that stuff, that cheerful, almost innocent throwback sound. But Lennon, especially around the White Album era, he wanted heavier stuff. Blues rock, or really personal introspective songs like Julia.
So he saw Paul's songs like this as going backwards. Fluff.
Pretty much. Regression, not innovation. That was his view. Simple pop ditties.
And this disagreement, this wasn't just talk, right? It spilled over into the studio sessions. Big time.
Oh, yeah. The sources really stress how much time this song ate up. That was a huge part of the problem.
It looks so simple.
Right. But apparently it took days and countless takes just to get the feel right. Paul was reportedly super demanding, making them do it over and over again.
Driving everyone mad, especially Lennon, I bet.
You can imagine. Just grinding repetition. And the atmosphere apparently got really, really toxic.
So bad, in fact, that it led to someone actually quitting. A key person just walked out because of the vibe around this song.
That's the story. The recording engineer, Jeff Emmerich, I mean, a legend, hugely respected. He quit Abbey Road right in the middle of the White Album sessions.
Wow.
And yeah, while the whole album sessions were tense, Abla Die is often cited as being like the breaking point for him.
The final straw. Why? What did he say about it?
He later talked about the constant arguments, Paul's obsessive perfectionism on this track especially, redoing vocals for tiny reasons. It just became unbearable.
So the mood was just awful.
Utterly degraded. Emmerich leaving was a massive deal. It really showed how bad the cracks were getting within the band. All over this bouncy little song.
Which leads us to the big irony here. Because Paul McCartney, later on, he told a different side to this story. Right. About Lennon's involvement. It wasn't just hatred and complaining.
Exactly. It shows how messy creative partnerships can be. Paul talked about it, I think, on Howard Stern, among other places, saying, yeah, John was annoyed, frustrated.
An understatement.
Right. But that frustration somehow got channeled into this moment of, well, genius, frustrated genius, maybe.
And this is about the piano intro, the most famous part of the song, probably. Those first few seconds.
That's the bit. The story goes, Lennon was just completely fed up. Sick of the endless takes, Paul's gentler approach. And apparently he was pretty high at the time, too. So he just snaps, storms into the studio, sits down at the piano, and just hammers out this really fast, almost like mocking music hall intro.
So he wasn't trying to help. He was making fun of it. Like, this is how stupid your granny music sounds if you play it fast.
That seems to be the idea. Paul apparently described his own initial idea for the piano as much slower, kind of dingy.
Ah. Dingy.
Yeah. So Lennon takes this dingy idea and just explodes it, forces the tempo way up, basically out of sheer annoyance, pouring all his contempt into it.
But they kept it. That angry, mocking version.
That's the crazy part. That fast, aggressive, I hate the song piano intro became the iconic intro we hear on the record.
So the guy who hated the song the most gave it its most defining, energetic moment.
Exactly. He tried to ridicule it, but instead he accidentally perfected it, gave it the energy it needed. It's wild. It suggests sometimes the best ideas don't come from, happy collaboration.
But from pure friction. Competitive spite, almost.
Yeah. Acidic energy, maybe?
Okay, so let's pull this together. We have this track. Sounds simple, cheerful. Roots in Nigeria via Jimmy Scott and Jamaican ska, which was big in London.
Right.
But internally, despised by John, disliked by George, caused massive tension, drove Jeff Emmerich to quit.
A total pressure cooker.
Yet the most memorable part, that driving piano intro, comes directly from John Lennon's frustration and contempt for the very song he's playing on.
It's an incredible snapshot of how they worked, isn't it? That weird combustion. And it leaves a really interesting question for you, the listener, to chew on.
Which is?
Well, how often does real creative breakthrough or maybe just necessary innovation come not from everyone getting along nicely, but actually from intense frustration, from conflict, from that kind of competitive fire in the studio? Maybe sometimes you need someone trying to tear it down to actually build it up right.
Something to think about. Life goes on, indeed.
Indeed it does.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Whenever you feel like knowing more about the Beatles, visit us at BeatlesRewind.com. Every day we do something new there. Cass, we'll do it again tomorrow.
Absolutely. Always more digging to do. See you then.
Until next time, when you listen.
Your mind conducts its own symphony.